Somehow, I got a Patreon request from someone who's not a Patreon member. Not sure how that happened, but they made the contribution, and they asked that I would look at the 1992 legal comedy My Cousin Vinny, which earned Marisa Tomei an Oscar for Best Supporting Actress. Besides that, it hasn't gone forgotten. It's still talked about a lot, as it's considered one of the best representations of court procedure that's been done in film. It's kind of surprising for how many popular courtroom movies exist. This little fish out of water tale stands out. It's also my mom's favorite movie, which isn't surprising given that she's the one who actually requested I review it. But more than likely, she's probably just annoyed that up until this point, I still had never seen the movie. This takes place in Alabama, where two New York college kids are taking a cross-country trip, played by the Karate Kid himself, Ralph Macchio, and that guy who Rachel almost married in Friends. They stop at a convenience store for a large amount of groceries, but Macchio's character, Bill, accidentally keeps a can of tuna in his pocket, which goes unpaid. After getting pulled over by a cop, they assume it's for the unintentionally stolen grocery, not realizing they're confessing to a murder. Apparently, minutes after leaving, the store clerk got shot and killed, and because they confessed for the wrong crime, they get locked in jail. Bill contacts someone in the extended family who recently became a lawyer, his cousin Vinny, which is where the title comes from. From the opening moments, you already get an idea of where the comedy is headed. Vinny and his fiancée Mona Lisa are very stereotypical Italian Americans, and they find themselves defending a relative and his friend in an extremely southern area. It's people from the big city finding their way in the small town. It's Doc Hollywood, it's Footloose, it's literally Sweet Home Alabama. This humor is a bit overdone, but for the most part, they don't focus on it too much. The majority of the film takes place in the courthouse, where it belongs, and there's not a special circumstance where the trial is run differently because they're in a weird, more secluded location. They don't have dumb jokes where southern or countryside quirks are infused into the judicial system itself. It's a comedy, but not slapstick or goofy, which is why I really appreciate it. The town has personality, but it never becomes a mockery of either party. In fact, most of the antics become useful later in the trial, so it takes advantage of the Chekhov's gun concept. When Vinny and Mona Lisa stop at a diner, they're shocked at the very existence of grits, but later, when a witness explains how he saw the suspects run away while he was cooking morning grits, Vinny is able to use his newfound knowledge to prove that the witness is being misleading about the amount of time it takes to make grits, which shows that he couldn't possibly have had enough time to see the suspects. For being a quick entire joke, they improve it by letting Vinny use it as a tactic. Vinny isn't the best lawyer, but he's not a miserable failure either. I'm glad this doesn't have him start as a bumbling idiot, but eventually grow to be a successful lawyer. Instead, he steps into the town he's underestimated, but slowly shows his methods and brilliance as the case goes forward. He's unassuming, but that's what makes him more enjoyable to watch, and his comedic moments never end with a pratfall. The judge antagonizes him about simple court protocols, he gets held in contempt numerous times, and even his clothing gets criticized. But I admire that the judge isn't presented as a villain, but just expecting that the lawyers act like lawyers. However, there's a few cultural roadblocks that need explaining. The judge doesn't understand what Vinny means by two utes. It's one of the funnier lines in the movie.
Did you say utes?
Yeah, 2 utes.
What is a ute?
Oh, excuse me, Your Honor. 2 youths.
Vinny isn't the most ethical lawyer ever, at least outside of the trial. He tries to convince the judge he's a talented and noted lawyer, but provides him with a false name that he used for the bar, even though the name is non-existent. He also isn't too accustomed to the mechanics of case trial, because at one point, he's given all the files prepared by the prosecution, only to be embarrassed by his fiancée, who explains he's legally permitted to look at those files anyway. Joe Pesci is excellent in the role. I think we're so used to his hot-headed personality, which is violent in Goodfellas, but not so violent in Home Alone. Here, he raises the temperature a few times, but for the most part, he He's more laid back, and I think it makes for a more funny performance. He gets a few snarky comments in, but for the most part, he's a subdued person. Some of the cross-examinations might come across as boring, but if you're a fan of courtroom drama, then you'll love how this proceeds. Every objection and everything that goes with it is uttered and explained in great detail. It feels like you're watching a live court. They never overblow things either, or break the rules for the purpose of being dramatic. I love movies like A Few Good Men, but let's face it, do you ever see the witnesses break in real life the way Jack Nicholson does? I could see why legal scholars still uphold this as one of the best, setting the precedent as a great example of courtroom etiquette in film. I'm not sure if there's controversy over Marisa Tomei's win for Best Supporting Actress, but for a majority of the screening, I didn't feel that she had too big of a role. I enjoy Tomei as an actress, so I wasn't complaining, but it didn't give me much to talk about. However, she pretty much steals the movie with the finale. Basically, all the evidence lies on the witnesses seeing a green vehicle, similar to Bill's 1964 Buick Skylark. It's only after a photo of the tread marks does Vinny realize a Skylark couldn't possibly make it over that curb, and make those tread marks without rear suspension, which happens to be on a similar looking 1963 Pontiac Tempest that also came in green. With Mona Lisa's extensive knowledge of vehicles, she's put on the stand and debunks the possibility that the vehicle and the murderers in question could have been the two college boys. It's probably confusing if you don't know much about cars, but that's what makes this scene so excellent. Mona Lisa holds your hand through this very detailed explanation that movie lovers, courtroom lovers, and car lovers will all enjoy. That's probably why my mom loves this movie so much. For just a few moments, she can feel that she knows just as much about vehicles as my dad, the noteworthy mechanic. It's an excellent courtroom comedy, and I saved a lot of the funny bits for you viewers at home. There's an extended joke about Mona Lisa being owed money by a local she beat in a game of pool. There's another ongoing gag where Vinny can't get any sleep. Anywhere they go, it's either the factory bells or even pigs that are going off at 5 a.m. Even sleeping in a hunting shack in the middle of the forest. The animals are making noises all night. Vinny and Mona Lisa don't become admirers of the town. Instead, once the case ends, they're trying to drive away as fast as they can. I'm happy that they made all these changes to what typically becomes heartwarming tropes. This stays funny and never strays off topic or tone. Well, Mom, I hope you're happy. I finally watched it, I enjoyed it, and I'll probably return to it in the future. It's just too bad that Joe Pesci retired, because I would love to see more courtroom adventures from Vinny Gambini. Weirdly enough, though, there is an album from 1998 that has Joe Pesci on it in his Vinny persona. Yeah, this is a legit thing. Joe Pesci made an album. He sang as Vinny Gambini in 1998. You can go look for it on iTunes. So I guess, Mom, if you want a semi-sequel to My Cousin Vinny, that's the next place to go. Give that music a listen. Thanks for watching the video, and special shout out to Anthony, Anna, Kirsten, Lucas, Ryan, and Robert for the support on Patreon. By joining my Patreon, you can get exclusive videos and blogs, and for only $7, you can request your own movie review. I hope you stick around, cinephile, and have a happy, productive day.